Hello, this is Greg House from Green Greg. It's coming to you on 22nd, January 22nd, 22 that is, 22/1/22, with the special guest Stacy Zivicki. Now, time on deck is 15:30 hours Central Standard Time. Now, my friends, what to do in the first 48 hours? What are you going to do when you are out and about or are at home and suddenly the grid's down? And what's going to happen in the first 48 hours? What are your immediate reactions? If you're away, how do you get home? What do you got to do? And if you're especially a lady and you're at home waiting on the husband, you think he's going to be there. Well, he may not be there for a few days, because even if his vehicle hasn't been fried, guess what? The highways are probably going to be jammed with all those that aren't running, and he may be walking to get home. So however long that takes is, and he may not be able to just walk straight, because he may meet other kinds of resistance on his way. Maybe not as bad the very first day, but guys, we're up for a pickle, and it may get bad real fast here. So what do? What's the first 48 hours? So that's the topic today. I'll bring you this as part of our eyes wide open and head on a swivel series, guys, so you'll know what to do and you know what's coming at you. So please, everybody, subscribe to my channel, bang the notification bell, and click all. And above all else, share these videos wide. And bear in mind, I got videos on how to eat free from the weeds and the trees. I got videos on quite a few things, guys. Make sure you share those videos. And by the way, I also got a special right now, which if the grid goes down, this would be very helpful to have. I got $150 off right now, a 3-month supply of this, and $50 off a 4-week supply of food. It gives you 2,000 calories a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's more than you get with a lot of the other prepping food supplies, which give you just 800 calories a day. That's lower than the starvation experiment that they did a few years ago. Guys, this is real food. It's freeze dried. It'll get you through. And it's easy to carry because it's lightweight. Go to prepwithgreg.com and click on the My Patriot Supply logo on prepwithgreg.com, and you can find all kinds of other prepping supplies in there, including other food deals, water purification, and other stuff. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I got Stacy Zivicki with us right now. So Stacy, she's got her own channel too, 2 channels, Sustainable Stewards and Sustainable Battle Axe also.
Yeah, Battle Axe and Sustainable Stewards. The Sustainable Stewards is more tutorial based, how to be self-sufficient, and Battle Axe is talking about a lot of spiritual, political, and this type of topics, you know. So that's what it's the difference between the two.
Okay, so all right, so what's going to happen? We may face an EMP. We might even take a direct nuclear strike. I'm going to start out with a nuclear strike, because if you see a mushroom cloud, the first thing you should do is not see it. The very first thing you need to do, every instinct in you is going to want to look to see what it is. That's the last thing you should do. I mean, if you notice it, if you get a glimpse of it, you better turn your head and shut your eyes tight, because it's liable to leave you blind for life. That flash is intense. It can blind you for life. You don't want to see it. And so what you got to know about a nuclear blast is, if you're not fried, you might survive. I mean, if you're too close to it, and you might be turned into pure energy. You know, there's and you can find in Nagasaki and Hiroshima where there's shadows of people cast into the concrete. Those are photographic negatives of that individual. That's all that's left of them, because they got vaporized. So you can be vaporized or turned into a crispy critter. But if you're still standing and you still got your wits about you, then you're far enough away, you got a shot at survival. The first thing you need to do is one, not look, but then get down. You know, you need to fall to the ground, especially if you're close, because there's a blast wave coming. When it comes, it's just like thunder. It's going to travel about 700 miles an hour to get to your location. So you've got to basically duck and cover. You got, if there's a ditch you can jump in it, because there's going to be a lot of rubble and debris rolling over you. And then once that blast wave passes, if you think you can get up, it's going to be a very brief moment you can get up, maybe to get a better position, but you better get down again. And how long you got to get down and jump for a ditch or get on the culvert depends on how far it is away from you. You ain't got time to contemplate it and listen, and count seconds to figure out how long you got, because you don't know until that blast wave gets to you. So you better get down fast. You better duck and cover in any way you can, because that blast wave will roll you, and that debris flying through the air will impale you, You do not want to be caught by that stuff. Get as low as possible, as fast as possible. If there's a depression, even if the ground, like it's not even if there's a depression, if you can lunge at it, get in it, fall down, get down fast. I mean, prone, cover your head. I mean, put your face down and cover your head, because debris hitting your brain or your head could take you out.
Right.
A lot of debris. And remember, once that first wave passes, it comes back. It passes,
Ooh.
and then because this mushroom cloud is rising, it's taking a lot of air up. There's a huge vacuum it's created as all that hot air rises, making that mushroom cloud. That wave comes back, so it's going to hit you twice. If you're out there and you get rolled in it, you're going to be rolled one way, and then you're going to be rolled the other way.
Greg, and I am sure most people don't even know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that debris is going to slam you one direction, and it's going to come back and get you the other way. You don't want to be in that. If you can get down, by all means, being in a vehicle is not safe. A vehicle is going to get rolled. It might be safer than standing out in the open, but not much, not much. You get down as low as you can, as fast as you can. And if you're on a highway, God help you, for all the vehicles that's allowed to be rolling over you. Maybe if you're in a car, you can drive it to a ditch real fast and jump out and get in that ditch. And it may be full of water. I don't know, that might even protect you as long as you can keep your head above it so that you don't drown. And then it's not going to be a drowning event. Okay, the next thing to do is get up. Once the second wave is passed, you need to know which way the regular wind was blowing before. Maybe you can get a quick sense of it, because you do not want to be downwind from that blast. You want to be off from it. The fastest way to get away from something is, let's say this is the mushroom cloud, it's here and you're here. You want, if say the wind is traveling through that, you want to go this way or that way. If you're going that way, it's going to be chasing you. Not as fast maybe as you can go, but if you're on foot, you probably can't go fast. Get away from it. If that mushroom cloud comes over your head, then there's going to be fallout raining on you, radioactive. It's going to be bad. It's going to be ugly. So what you got to do then is you got to, you need to get under something once so that stuff don't fall on you directly. But if you can get under, like if you got a bomb shelter, if you got a fallout shelter to be in, you're a lot better off, because that radiation will be penetrating. You're liable to get a lethal dose. But if you don't, all that don't happen. When you can get away from all this stuff, do not travel downwind from that thing went, because it's going to be dumping like a mushroom cloud occurs in one point, like say right here, and the wind's blowing this way, it's going to leave an oval shaped plume following the wind of that radiation dropping out. Those particles, the heaviest particles drop first, and they're the deadliest, usually the heavier isotopes and heavy dust.
And Greg, how far does that radiation fall out? How far can it go?
Well, it can go several miles. That depends on two things. It depends on whether it's a ground burst or an air burst. It's going to depend on the yield of the device that was detonated, and it's going to depend on the wind, how fast the wind is. So other weather factors can be taken into account. It can go many miles downstream. If you know there's a radiation path ahead of you, you don't want to cross it. Now in the military, they taught us to actually cross that stuff. They taught us to put sandbags in the floorboard. We were taught to fight in a nuclear war, because we had the doctrine that we could win it. I don't think that's the case anymore, because we are way outnumbered in weapon systems by our adversaries. It should we get into it with Russia or China, and it could be a terrorist event. You may not know who did it. When you send a mushroom cloud, all you're gonna know is you're sending a mushroom cloud. You don't know where it come from. You don't know if the whole world's been nuked or not. So that's what to do with a mushroom cloud. Now, when you get out of that stuff, you need to get your clothes off and take a shower, get those radioactive particles off of you, because your clothes is contaminated. You got to get that stuff off of you as soon as you can and get something else on after you shower and wash the particles off. It might be a hose pipe beside somebody's house. You know, modesty might have to go to the wind, because you're trying to save your life. You need some modesty. You better have something else to wrap yourself in, or you'll get arrested or shot for running around naked. You don't want that either.
And of course, I'm sure you would suggest that if people had iodide pills, they get them in their system as soon as possible, right?
Right. Most people got those at home. You might put an iodine pill in your whatever. It might be a good case if you're traveling a lot, just to carry some with you now. So
we've got them in our vehicles.
That's the first things to do. I got some in a drawer right here. That's the first thing to do if you got a mushroom cloud. Now, if you were 14 miles, 12 miles away from most of these clouds, you're probably going to be okay, except for the fallout that falls. Now, if you're in a place where you can shelter good, where you got a lot of mass between you and the outside, like the lower floor, you got a bunch of stuff up against the house or up in the ceiling, you might have enough mass to shelter you. Get under tables, chairs, desks, or something. You need to stay low for a couple weeks. The radiation drops off rapidly. But I still wouldn't want to drive through the debris field where they
Stay low for a couple of weeks. So again, you shouldn't be leaving your house, and you should have food supply, water, everything you need to survive those couple weeks.
Now, I've got an entire video. I got an entire video on nuclear bug out. You need to see that video. It covers it far more extensively than we're going to do here today, because this is really a first 48-hour video.
Yeah.
And we're going to switch and talk about what to do in an EMP case. So I'm going to switch over to Stacy. Stacy, what is your advice? What do you advise people to do immediately and over the course of the first 48 hours? And we got to talk about the guy on the road trying to get home, the woman at home, or it could be vice versa. But women are going to be especially vulnerable after the aftermath of all this.
Yes.
Go ahead. What do you think?
Well, Greg, my husband and I have been planning for this for some time. We've got plans in place. We talk about it often, and that I would suggest is the first thing, is that you talk about it often, because plans, it needs to be like muscle memory. So when it's go time, it's there. You're in action. You don't have to think about it. You don't have it written down and you're following your directions. It's got to be muscle action, muscle memory. So for us, the first thing is whether it is a EMP or a cyber attack and the grid goes down, either way, as I said, it's going to be a crap storm, Greg. I mean, you would agree with that. Vehicles, we don't know, as you said numerous times, we don't know if your vehicles will be fried or some will still be running, but you can't run the risk of not being prepared. So the first thing is, like, especially you can see I got this setting behind me. This was a month ago when it was warm out. Okay. And this is warm out. This is 15 degrees this day. That's warm for us up here. Just, you can see the sparsity in that road. It's a rural road in Wisconsin. And I happen to have been about 30 miles away from home at that point. Okay. So that's the stuff we're thinking. So first thing is, every day you leave the house, right? You got your get home bag, you got your first aid, you got your pistol, whatever gun of choice you choose for self-preservation, it should be in your trunk, in your vehicle with you.
Let's refer to those as nugs on it.
Nugs. Yep.
We don't want to trip the
That's right. So you have your self-preservation pew-pews, all right? You have your water, you have your food. And for us, it would be 48 hours, right? 48-hour pack. It's a quick get home bag. And that's what that is. If you are living longer distances, you need longer food provision, longer water provision. And of course, because see the weather, you have to have appropriate clothes. So my husband has heavy duty snow pants, jacket, boots, and wool hat, wool mitts, wool socks, and of course fire starter if he gets caught out on the road. So for us, that's where my husband's at. For me, because I homeschool, because I farm from home, I'm here. Now immediately my husband's job, bam, moment one. And his job is get home quickly, swiftly, and to be the gray man on the road. He doesn't want to cause attention to himself. He wants to put his backpack on, and guess what? He doesn't want to dress in military garb so he looks like he knows something more or he can help anybody. He wants to get through to where he's going quickly, fast, in a safe manner. He has paper, which if you're local, you don't necessarily need maps, but if you're on the road, if you're a truck driver, if you are a delivery person, or you're just on a day trip for the day, everybody should have paper maps in their vehicles. Paper maps, because this whole thing here will be gone. You ain't getting no Google. You aren't getting nobody telling you how you're gonna, you're not gonna be able to make a phone call. And make sure that
no Google Maps,
paper maps, and make sure that they're updated paper maps. What I have found over the last couple of years, Greg, is they don't update the paper maps like they used to, because everybody uses their cell phones nowadays. So make sure that they're updated map. You can go to a store and sometimes there's a map and it's been in there for 4 or 5 years. and it's full of dust because people don't buy them anymore. So make sure they're updated. Have your plan, have your, your roads and everything you're going to go through down, which would be the least traveled. You don't want to go around big populated areas. If you have to traverse 8 extra miles to get around a city, do so. Don't go through that city. And that's why you need to plan and pack appropriately. So the second grid goes down. My husband's job is to get those things, get ready, say goodbye to who he needs to say goodbye to at work, inform them what happened so they at least got a fighting chance. And his job is to go to his parents, give them the opportunity to come. Then he has to go to my mother's, my grandfather's, and he is to pick these people up on the way. And all of my family members have been told, if this happens, expect my husband there within this amount of time. Okay, expect that you need to have a wheelbarrow, that you need to have a wagon, whatever, to take all your food supplies, your clothing, everything you need to get to our home. Because we are that bug out location, and I won't leave my mother, and I will not leave my grandmother behind. I am not a person that will do that. So that's my husband's job. Me. Now, depending if most of the time I'm at home or I'm milking cows. Even when I milk cows, it's close to 12 miles away, which is pretty significant in a winter situation. I, of course, have got get home supplies in my truck, no matter where I go. If it's a longer trip, I'm always packing extra. All right. But if I'm milking, we discussed this with my daughter yesterday. I told her, if we would have warning, I pray to God we have warning, even if it's 3 to 5 minutes, if the government comes on the warning system to say incoming, 1 minute to tell our milk bosses, hey, this is what's happening. This is what you need to do. Protect your family, get your kids home. God bless you. We're out, and we get home as fast as we can. If lights are out, tell them what happened, and we're walking home. My job as wife, as mother, because I am close proximity to home further. My husband works about 45 minutes away. I'm close. I can be home even at a walking within 30 minutes. Okay. I will cut through the woods. I know where I can go. I know the farmers around here. I can cut through fields if I need to. My job is to get home and secure the property. Yes, we've got dogs. We've got guardian livestock dogs. But if you're not here, they can get shot like that. Okay. My job is all these preparations that we have had is to secure them and hold down the fort until my husband comes with my family, my son-in-law comes with my daughter, and then whoever else has been welcomed here. My job is to hold the fort. Even my 12-year-old daughter has got, she knows the plans. She's got her bag, and she's got her pew-pew, and that's the job. And then my job for the next, it might take my husband 3 days to get home if he's got to get everybody. It just might happen that, or if he's got to, if the plan that he's going, he has to go around, like I said, 8 to 10 miles. It might take him longer. That's the plan. And then my job is to talk to my neighbors and make it, all my neighbors already know very clearly that we are not people to mess with. They know that very clearly. And I suggest people out there in YouTube Lab, you talk to your neighbors, you get that community, you let people, don't let them know what you have, but don't let them know you're pushovers either. If you're a pushover, that's the biggest thing when you talk to these people, they need to know that you're ready for stuff, and you're welcome to help your neighbors, but you're not a pushover. You need to make that very clear from the get-go, because guys, if you do have neighbors, I know people out there that their whole plan, Greg, is when this happens, the first 3 days just to go raid. There are people out there with that mentality. What they forget is there is communities like ours and families like ours that will uphold the law. And I'm going to say there's not going to be any governmental law at that point. It is going to be a free-for-all, survival of the fittest. And so that's the get home for us. I'm here, secure the property. And for you out there, whoever is closest to the children, if your kids are in public school, you have to have that plotted out. Okay. If the wife is gone for the day, she's driving 50, 60 miles away, husband is 10 miles away from the kids. All right, today, dad gets the kids. But on a normal day, if mom is within 3 miles of the kids, mom gets the kids. Ride, bike, do whatever you have to get there to get in there and get those kids. Now, be warned, the schools may be on lockdown and tell you can't get your kids. And that's a fact. And there's another possibility, as I've talked to teachers, that they'll just abandon the kids. Because you got to remember, these teachers and these administration people, their parents, they got families of their own, they may not stay. So your priority at that point, whoever is closest to those children, is to get to that school and get your children. And you get them any way, shape or form that you can get them. And I know
very important. That's a very important thing that don't get mentioned often. And that's why it's good to have a woman on here, a lady's perspective, is that those kids are vulnerable. They're the most important thing you've got in the world.
That's right.
That should be your top priority, is rescuing those kids. I've gone to get mine out of the schools when we had tornado warnings and stuff like that. So you got to get those kids. That's the most important thing in the world.
That's right.
And you brought that up. I don't know any other preppers ever mentioned that.
Yeah, and they don't. And the fact of the matter is even if they do, they don't plan for, okay, well, mom maybe works within 3 to 5 miles of school. Normally she'd get them, but all of a sudden she's on a business meeting or she went on a road trip for the day and she's 100 miles away and dad's 15. Now the plans change. Now dad has to look at his map and he's got a different game plan. Well, now, like if this was my husband, we're not in public school, but if we were, now my husband is bypassing grandma, bypassing grandpa, going directly to the kids, because the kids are the priority. They cannot defend themselves. Grandma and grandpa, you're going to have to wait a few days. Well, plan 2 is an action to come and get you, so those things you got to think of. And all while doing this, as a female, you better have that great equalizer. And that's what I'm going to call it. You better have that great equalizer, because when this happens, be it the prison systems, Greg, during the whole Ronies, let's just call it that so we don't get the Ronies, right? What were they doing? They were letting people out of the prison systems. They were letting them go free. What do you think is going to happen if the grid is down? They're going to open up them dang doors. Now, I would hope.
Well, they may open because lots of them are held shut by electrical charges.
Right.
All that's going to fail. They'll have backup generators by the time that'll fail.
Yeah.
So later, those prisoners are coming out, and a lot of the guards are going to be wanting to run home, take care of family anyway.
Yep.
So if you live anywhere close to a prison, you're not in a good spot.
Right. It's my personal preference, and I'm begging any of you officers out there in the prison system, if there's any pedophile, rapists, or murderers, take care of the business right then and there before you go home. It's just my little, please do that for your society. Because in that kind of situation, we don't want them out. But unfortunately, we know that they're going to be out. So as a woman, these are the things you have to think of. I know it sounds like the things of fictional, right? Prepper books or what have you, but these things are going to happen. And as a female, get those kids, get home as soon as you can. Your 4 walls and your property are your first defense against the people that are going to be walking through. And I don't care where you live, Greg, you could be in the Ozarks and you're going to have people walking around because everybody's going to be trying to get to somewhere. So, and as a female, I'm encouraging you, women, if you don't have an equalizer, and you know what I'm talking about, folks, if you don't have one, you need to go today and get one. You don't, you just need to get trained. And this is what I tell people, I've had people say, oh, you got to take the course for us. You got to get trained. You got to, get it. Then go. Time is running out. You don't have time to go take a week course. You may not ever get it, You can
do that and you got the luxury, by all means do it. But in the meantime, you better think that stuff can go down any minute right now. We're living in an extremely perilous moment. Stuff can go down any minute. And here's another thing. I'm hearing stories that the Navy is gone black with communications, and a lot of people, a lot of bases have gone black. There's something going down, guys. So,
I've been hearing that, Greg. I had a friend message me. They've got family or friends with kids in the Navy, and comms are down, like communication is down.
So guys, even though Biden is saying we're not going in, we're not doing that, he's known for being a bumbling old fool, and I believe he is, but he may be playing a part right now. Because really and truly, if you're smart and you're going to do something, you act like you're not going to do it.
Right.
So don't take it that that's really where he's at. I'm not saying that we ought to be going in or this, that, and the other. I'm just telling you that we may be doing it, whether they're telling you that or not, which means we definitely become a target. And if we don't go in, we got allies, NATO allies, who are sending some military people into Ukraine right now. That's happening right now. UK just announced they're sending 30 over. That's not a lot, but something like that might be just enough. And then that 30 might be 3,000. We don't know. Something like that might happen. It might be just enough to trigger Putin to strike at one of those countries. Putin has been running his Navy all around Great Britain lately.
Right.
And he's really had them on pins and needles. So he might be looking for an excuse to strike them for some reason.
Right.
I don't know what's going on there, but I have no idea. But if any of these NATO countries get hit, including the Baltic nations, which he really don't like being in NATO at all, he really would like to take those back. If any of those countries get hit, we're treaty bound to respond. Whether we should be or not is immaterial right now, because we probably will. So, and bear in mind, guys, that makes us a target. That makes us a big target. Right. So, we're talking about some of the worst things that could happen. EMP, it could take, I talk about what to do in case you see a mushroom cloud. One, don't see it. and two, you don't want to see it. If you do, make sure you turn away from it as fast as you can. Don't look at it. Don't watch it. It will burn your eyes out. You will be blind. And it may not even feel like it at first. Those x-rays will be burning your retinas out, and you won't even know it, maybe. So you may not feel the pain, but you're going to be blind if you watch that thing.
Yeah.
And it's usually blind. I mean, probably if you can put your hands in front of your eyes, you still got enormous amount of energy coming through. So it's not a good situation.
It's not a Hollywood movie where everybody's looking at it and don't look. I didn't.
The military guys that watched those explosions had very, very, very thick tinted glass to do that through.
Right.
So that's the only, you'd have to have something like you could look at the sun with, and even that might not be good enough, like the sun filter. Right. It's like some people have telescopes for watching an eclipse, but don't try it. Don't look at it.
Right.
We had training. I went to a nuclear biological chemical school. I was the honor grad from it, and we had training about how to estimate the height and the yield by the height and the distance by the time into the blast wave and different things like that. But you don't have time. You're not gonna have time to know all that stuff. You don't have time for that training. Just follow the advice I said. Get away from it and travel perpendicular to the wind to get away from the fallout. But get out as fast as you can. Make tracks, because you don't want that radiation on you. And if you're already underneath the umbra of the mushroom cloud, you better get under something so that fallout isn't all over you. You can put a lot.
And as a farmer, Greg, farmers got a plan.
Yeah, culverts are good places. Culverts are a good place to go because you got a lot of dirt overhead. If you're on the road, get in under a culvert, and you may be playing with the fishes. It may be too cold for you. I don't know, but you don't want that radiation. That radiation can get you.
No.
But bug out.
I have already thought about my animals with radioactive fallout, and the only thing I can do is put them in the barn and lock them up. That's the only thing I can do.
Oh, I cover that in my video. Hopefully you got a barn loft with a lot of hay and stuff up there. The more mass you got, the better off you are for your animals. Putting stuff up against the side of the barn is good. I cover that also in my bug out video. I cover taking care of your animals, your livestock. That's going to be important.
Yeah.
So another thing that Stacy touched on, the gray man. Let's talk about that a little bit. You need to be inconspicuous. If you are on the road, man or female, and suddenly your car is not running, or you can't go anywhere because the road's just jammed up, and If you need to get out of there, I mean, these cars, it's probably going to stay jammed. There's nobody coming to rescue. There's too much going on for a wrecker to take care of things. That wrecker probably ain't running anyway. So if you've got to bug out from that point, you know, a bug out bag for one, you need to know for a get home bag. It's not the same as a regular bug out bag. It needs to be lightweight. You only need enough provisions to survive till you get home.
Right.
Some water, maybe a little quick snack or some kind of little foods that you can take with you to munch on. You want it to be lightweight so you can be mobile.
Yep.
But being lightweight also makes you more conspicuous because it's pretty common for people to wear backpacks. So just make sure it's like an office backpack, any kind of backpack that somebody would ordinarily wear to office, like to carry a computer in. But yeah, I'm going to be posting a tactical backpack on here for people in the future. But you know,
right.
This is what you need. You need to be able to get out and get home and you don't need a lot of stuff in there. Now you got to be climate sensitive. If you're up north, you're going to need some blankets and something like that. You're going to need gear to survive the weather according to wherever you're at for the weather. And think if you're going to be far enough from home, how far can you realistically walk in a day? What's your physical shape? Some people can't walk a half mile. Some people, when I was in the Army, we did 20-mile road marches, and I got stranded out in the wilderness 20 miles out once. And I had to walk back. So
and something to think about, Greg, is as a woman, if you got your kids, you got little ones. Listen, you aren't going any more than 5 miles a day with kids, and I'm telling you that because we hike a lot, and we hike with packs. Have your pack, whatever, and then you have a 20-30 pound kid in tow on each arm. You're not going very far in a day, so you have to consider that on your plans to get home.
Kids and senior citizens also have a lot of issues with joints and just different problems. And so you're also going to be time limited for how far you can travel in a day. In that case, you need to have some way to sleep over somewhere, to camp out, make you a little brush shelter. And you need to study bushcrafting. You can get tents or one-person tents that weigh almost nothing, but you want as little as you can get by with in your pack. You just need to know how far you're going, how long it's going to take you to get home, and plan your get home bag according to that. It's not a bug out bag, it's a get home bag, because your first job is to get home. Then you can bug out if need to. If your home is your bug out, then you got it made. Hopefully you need to start thinking about radiation shelters. See my nuclear bug out video again. I mentioned that again. And you may just have to go on my channel and search for nuclear bug out, through the little hourglass icon. I'll try to put a link to it in the video, in the show notes and in the pinned notes for this video. But that is very important. This, guys, we're coming up on, we're at DEFCON 3. We're at DEFCON 3 right now. That's rare. That's very rare. We're at DEFCON 3. I think 9/11 last time was DEFCON 3. So hard about this, guys.
Greg, I did want to touch on something real quick. You just touched on the gray man. Absolutely, gray man, be as inconspicuous as you can on your way home. You need to get home. That's your whole goal. But I do believe, and this is where I believe different than many people, once you are home, you need to make it very clear that you are there, you are present, you are bearing arms, and that there are people on watch 24/7. Because I know a lot of people, they'll say, oh, we just got to hunker down, close the curtains. But as it is today, anybody will tell you in law enforcement, thieves, when they go to homes, they look for homes that are empty. They're not going to the homes where there's a ton of people where they're going to have to fight to get through. And in all honesty, when this happens, that's going to be the case for some time. People in general are lazy and take the path of least resistance. So what are they going to do? They're going to look for empty homes, dark homes. You want to make it, of course, we're talking blackout situation here. Hopefully you were prepared, and hopefully you had candles and you had, propane, and you had these things. I suggest people make it very clear that there's an abundance of people, that there are people on 24-hour watch. Most criminals with that kind of attitude are going to say, all right, I'm going 5 miles down the road where I know people aren't paying attention, where it doesn't look like, because I'm telling you, if a house that looks empty, somebody's going to try to break into it. Or,
that's what they're going to do at first. And then they'll start picking on people that are by themselves. They will start getting more and more adventurous. They will be forming gangs, and they'll be forming like little military type units, and they will start attacking people. They'll go after the people that don't have anything. Then they're coming after the lone preppers. And then see, there's a guy in Bosnia wrote a book about it. Yeah, he said the only way they survived was they had lots of nugs and lots of freedom seeds, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And that's where your community comes in. Have to have that community.
They had to have that to survive, and it was really combat. Survival was combat.
Yeah.
Just combat against any hungry horde or gang that wanted to come in and take what you got. There's going to be warlords, basically.
Yeah.
A lot of them will form around existing gangs. A lot of them will form, Billy Ray down the street, who's an addict, he's going to be, he hadn't saved anything. He's going to be coming for you and what you got.
Yeah. Yeah.
A sociopath or a psychopath anyway.
Yeah.
They don't care. They're going to be coming.
Right.
And so you got to be prepared, and you need to have people with you that's prepared to deal with that, to take it the worst as it comes. Let's pray that this stuff don't happen. Let's pray that this don't come to pass.
Amen.
But guys, we're in a situation right now globally between Russia and China and even Iran, North Korea. All these are clear and present danger threats to us at the moment. Iran has said as their military doctrine, if they have a war with us, the first thing they're going to do is take down our power grid. And they've got sleeper cells in the United States that plan to go after our big transformers, the ones I tell you are so vulnerable. And it's interesting how, according to Stacy's vision, she had this vision of being attacked in Venezuela. Well, what did Russia just threaten to do? They threatened to put troops and military assets in Cuba and where? Venezuela. And I've been talking about that for some time here, and with Stacy, that this is a risk, guys. And that's what Russia brought up. They brought that up. So you need to pay attention to this vision Stacy had. Let's pray, hope and pray that don't come to pass, but it is highly credible scenario for what could happen. And the fact that she had it in the vision and she didn't have knowledge of those kind of things is, guys, that's an eye-opener. That a lady who milks cows had a vision about an EMP attack coming from a very deniable strategic way. I thought that was incredible that she had that kind of vision. So that tells me that there's something to that we need to pay attention to. It's not mean it will happen. Like in the Bible, you can have a prophet size that something's going to happen, but it's usually conditional upon what the population does. Like
That's right. That's right.
Like repent and turn into the Lord. So there's a lot of conditional things there that, it don't mean it's got to happen that way, but it means that if things don't change, that's what's coming. It means that, you better get ready for it.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Guys, and all I have to, we're talking, like we were just talking the first 48 hours, right? It's get home, secure your family, secure your home, make a presence known that you are on that property. And for all intensive purposes around your neighbors, you need to act like it's business as usual. If you got a cow that needs milking and feeding like I do, you go milk the cow and you feed the cow. Within that time, I am sure by day 2, by the second 24 hours, you would have already met with your neighbors and they would have all been discussing what was going on. And I do suggest that this would have happened months prior already, but you don't position yourself in that community group or elder board to be underneath everybody. I'm just going to tell you that because as you said, Greg, there's going to be like warlords and stuff. Even in a good community, you're going to have people that are going to try to step up and control everything. And even good people will say, come on, Greg, we need to share all of our food with each other for, the community security. You better stand your ground and make it very clear what you are willing to give and what you're not willing to give. Because I'm just telling you, you could have the most God-fearing Christian, mother and father, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever you are, it doesn't matter. When your kids start starving, they're going to kill to feed those children. And it doesn't matter who they are. So just remember that that's what we're working, you know, after the first 48 hours, that's what's coming. So you're constantly, you know, I would say politically, right, locally positioning yourself to already, I'm not submitting to anybody around us. We've already said that, you know, we're willing to work alongside, but we will not submit under anybody.
Yeah, when you got your community too, everybody's going to want to bring in every aunt and uncle, and every aunt and uncle's going to bring in their cousin, aunt and uncle, and you know they would grow infinitely, and soon you got the whole city in your front yard.
Yeah.
You know, there's got to be limits to everything, even in the communities and mag groups and whatever that you found form. There's got to be limits as to who gets in, and essentially nobody other than immediate family, kids.
Yeah.
Kids and immediate family, that needs to be the rule, or there's just no stopping it, and it'll get out of control. Now you do need people to help you man the nugs.
Yes.
You do need a good
security. Yeah.
You do need a good nug force.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do need people that can provide security, and that's going to be one of the key things. You know, not enough people do that, but you don't need the whole town piling in on you either, because then it's going to be chaos,
right,
and everything will break down. It'll be,
yeah.
And you'll lose.
Now, if your neighbors can feed their own, whoever they bring in, fine, but you're feeding them, nobody else is, you know, but that'll break down eventually too, you know. Yeah, if this happens, Greg, it will be, I believe, the biggest human challenge that America has ever seen. From the Revolutionary War, none of it will, from the Civil War, none of it will be, there won't be a comparison to the absolute horrors that I believe will come on this land.
You're talking about, according to the EMP Congressional Task Force, 9 out of 10 people aren't going to make it.
Now, isn't in the first 3 months, 90% gone?
Well, they said in the first year, but I would say it's probably the first 3 months.
Yeah.
Or even more down the road, because even most farmers aren't growing a big enough garden to feed themselves. They're market gardeners. I mean, market farmers. They grow to sell, and they're not going to eat enough of what they grow unless it's cattle, and you might be able to get by with that for a while. But then there's poachers. You got to worry about poachers big time, especially with big livestock. The bigger livestock, the bigger your poacher problems will be. Even if you got little rabbits, you may have to worry about poachers. There are too many worm poachers around, but I'm sure people would be digging the worm beds if they could once they get hungry enough. We're talking some serious stuff here, guys. This is very, very, very serious. Just bear in mind that you need to put family first, your kids first above all. Kids, parents, spouses. That's got to be your first priority. But you need to think about it. Talk about it with your spouse, whoever your partner is. Your kids, they kind of need to know what to do, because they'll be like, say, look, if something's happened, mom and dad's coming to get you. Maybe a little bit before we can get there. Just hang here, don't run off, because if they go off somewhere, you ain't gonna find them.
My daughter, when she was little, my oldest and my youngest, which is now 12, they all were in school the first couple years. Okay. Even little on age 4, age 5, age 6. If this happens, if you see the teachers and the principals and either bad men or people running everywhere, I want you to go in your classroom, in the cupboard, find a cupboard and you hide, and mommy will come and get you. Guys, I know some of you parents are out there, you don't want to frighten your kids. But guess what? The reality of life is it's a dangerous, life is a risky business. I've been training my girls since age 3 to perceive things, to perceive threats. And that could come from the fact that when I was 12, I was brutally raped and sodomized. So I did not come from a background of life is happy, nothing will ever happen. I was a child when I was raped. Okay. So for my children, I didn't sugarcoat it. It was gently given to them, but they were very aware of the evils in the world and very much taught to have situational awareness and a plan in every situation. My Ruby would say, Mama, if I'm on the playground and any bad peoples come, there's these little tubes. I'm going to hide in them tubes, and that's where I'll be. Okay, sweetheart, mommy will be there. And we have to stop thinking that our kids can't handle stuff. They can handle stuff. One of the reasons our society is so messed up now is because kids for the last 30 years have been freaking coddled. They think that life is a walk in the park, and there's never any bad that comes to happen to them. I think some reality needs to be taught to these kids, and the backpacks, put survival gear in their backpacks, have it in there. You don't even need to tell them about it. Just leave this in there, honey. Don't touch it.
A lot of those coddled kids are young adults now, and they think they should get a living for doing nothing.
That's right. That's right.
So so our workforce is breaking down. We got a lot of challenges, guys, but I think in the very best of situations of what we're facing right now, we're going to see major disruptions, bigger disruptions to supply chains. You're going to see energy costs shoot way up. Overall inflation is going to go up because energy costs are going up. Farmers are going to have even more trouble. Right now, farmers are having trouble getting fertilizers. The nitrogen.
Yeah, it's expensive.
It's expensive. Some places it's being rationed. It's hard to get. It's going to get worse. That means less food this spring and summer being grown. So next harvest season, things may be spartan. So these are challenges we got to face. That's why you need to be growing your own food. I've been
absolutely.
I've been preaching it. A lot of people aren't getting it. You're not picking up what I'm putting down, but that might mean you're laying in the ground before you know it. So you need to pay. You need to open your eyes wide open and pay attention.
Yeah.
Ears, guys. If you've ever done it, now is the time to do it. Buy seeds, get them right now, because there may be a rush on seeds. Go to my link to True Leaf Market. It'll be linked below. And you have heirloom seeds that you can. When you grow the plant, you can harvest the seeds and you get the same kind of plant back. And like hybrid, you get all kind of gnarly stuff with them. And they're non-GMO through True Leaf. So that's what you need to do, guys. If you live in the city, you can grow microgreens and on your windowsill. And you can grow Victory Gardens. Even people in the city, you had pots and they had to have them hanging on their terraces, and
there's roofs on all those buildings. There's big roofs on all those buildings.
And you can grow stuff in your windows. You can even hang bottles in your windows, plastic bottles, and have water dripping through them and put plants in them. There's tons of things you can do to grow as much food as you can, store food, and look at that. Truly, look at that. Go to prepwithgreg.com. Look at those specials there. Go to Walmart, go to the big box stores, get your dried beans, your dried rice, your macaroni. But guys, this is tough. You need the beans for the protein, okay? Put it in 5-gallon buckets so that the rats don't get in and eat it up. And you may have no rats. Well, you start storing stuff, you never know. It can happen. Especially if if we have a nuke event. Things can your foundation may be cracked by the pressure wave going.
That's right.
It may make access points for vermin that never got in your house before. And you better consider also that
sewage lines probably being busted and all that.
All the patterns that these varmints are living under right now will be changed too, because they've been living in the cities off the restaurants, are going to be operating. So they're going to scurry out. They're going to be hunting new places. So everything's going to change. You'll see things you couldn't imagine. It looked like biblical plagues. We're talking about a rough time, and our ancestors. That's one reason I put my dad on video. You can see the videos of my dad, and I talked about how they had to make a living. I know they had to. They basically fought just to work. I mean, work was like they had to. He put it plain. They had to scratch to make a living, and that meant they were really going that hard. And they didn't have a lot of stuff. They didn't have anything. They had maybe two sets of clothing, one to wear to church on Sunday and one for working or going to school in. Yeah. And they'd get shoes in the fall for the kids, and they'd wear them out. Well, they wouldn't get another pair of shoes until the fall time. And I'll tell you what, they made a lot of their stuff they, you know, about all they could afford to do is buy salt and pepper and sugar, maybe some tobacco and coffee, maybe a little flour. But you know, they worked all year just to buy that. They didn't have no possessions. They didn't have
Right.
they had almost nothing. And they worked their rear ends off for what little bit they had, just right to set the table and eat. They worked
Yeah.
their rear ends off. For
Well,
that.
Greg, you know, our society isn't supposed to be like it is. People aren't supposed to be so comfortable and such consumers that they literally throw their safety to aside. And that's what's happened. People become so comfortable and absolute consumers and users that they've literally put the safety of their lives and family on the sideline in other people's
They don't know it because they think it's going to be this way forever. And even if we're lucky and that peace prevails, let's hope and pray it does, through all our challenges with Russia, with China, with North Korea and Iran. Let's pray peace prevails. And if it does, if we don't do anything with our grid, the sun's going to take it out, and you're going to be the same kind of situation. So we got to work to get our grid fixed, and I'm going to be putting out more material on that over the next few weeks and months, if God deems that we can survive that long and still have a grid. I don't know, guys. This could go down anytime. Who knows? We may have years, and it may only be minutes. I have no idea.
Right.
And for all we know, the EMP device is on its way at this very second. You just don't know.
You just don't know.
Or it might not ever happen. We might be just fine and dandy, but right now we don't know. So you better be prepared. I mean, right now the prospects are very high.
That's right. That's right. So, and watch Greg's videos with Dr. Pry. I'll tell you, he's such a well-spoken, wise man, and he just says it like it is. You know, when he said go get canned goods, he listen, I'm prepared. I went to get some more canned goods, and guess what, Greg? There is no canned goods out there. I found beans and peas and 2 kinds of fruit. That was it. That was it.
You know what? Again, it's good because the supply chains are shattering or breaking down.
That's right.
You better pay attention. Better pay attention now. It's not getting any better. It's not going to get any better.
Greg, I'd like to continue this with you because, you know, when I said secure your home and your possessions, didn't even get to the next. I think we got the first 24 hours, maybe. We didn't even talk about, hey, you got to get in that freezer and start smoking that meat, start canning that meat. That's all that stuff that comes with securing your property, your provisions. There's a lot that I'm telling you, that first 48 hours, you aren't sleeping. You aren't sleeping. You're working 24/7 to get the things you need to get done.
All right. So you think we just got the first 24 hours in this video?
I think we did. I think we got the first 24 hours, you know.
All right.
And then
we'll have to do a follow on.
Yeah, we'll have to do a follow up on the next couple days, right?
Let's hope and pray we've got time for this. Let's hope and pray that, like I said, let's hope and pray for peace. But, you know, I'm hearing the Navy. I'm hearing people tell me what you just said. I went to prepper meeting today, and that's exactly what people say. Oh, I got friends and family that are out there in the East Coast, and the whole area Commons is shut down from the Navy. And
yeah, and my friend is on the West Coast, so
we're seeing stuff getting shipped. We're shipping stuff over there like crazy right now. There's shipments going on. I don't know what's going down.
Yeah, we could already be at war. We don't know. They can shut down, you know, everything.
It may be they're just beefing up our allied countries over there. That may be all there is to it. But to see the shutdown with comms, that is highly suspicious. That's highly interesting.
And Greg, you did hear about the Norway's big underground sea cable being cut, didn't you?
No.
Their military comms under the deep sea military cables that they have running throughout the ocean got cut.
Wow. So see, they're NORAD. They're not NORAD. They are NATO. Norway is NATO. And, you know, that goes through the Baltic Sea and all that stuff. So, and Russia has submarines in those areas that do that kind of stuff. That's a military op. If that got cut, then
that got cut this week. I can send you the link on that.
Then that may mean that Russia's got plans and they want to separate, divide and conquer the alliance. So
it would make sense.
That's not good. That's one of your kind of preliminary things that might happen. So maybe that cable might have been a little more resilient to an EMP attack. So who knows what else is going on like that? That's the one we heard about.
Right. How many more cables were cut? How many more? Yeah.
There's a reason for DEFCON 3.
Yeah. And I just want to say this to you folks out there. We didn't get into any of where we stand. I'm going to say this politically, spiritually, whatever. I want to be friends with Russia. Along with most of the American people, don't want them. This to me is political at its roots. It's the military industrial complex trying to make more money. And we know that there's a collapse coming. Our government trying to stop that from happening. This is all manufactured. It's all manufactured. And I think the vast majority of the American people stand with me and say, we want peace. We want everybody to have their freedom. And we don't want war. You know, Jesus said, blessed is the peacemaker, right? We don't want war with Russia or China if we can help it. But we dang well better be prepared for it and not stop this nonsense that the United States is above reproach, that we can't have bloodshed here, that we never can be harmed here. It's nonsense.
In modern warfare, that's not the case. So while I'm talking, I'm going to put this up the screen because while I'm talking, you can see it. That is DEFCON 3, guys. That's where we're at right now. We're at DEFCON 3. That is pretty serious. So keep that in mind. And yeah, we need to do some serious praying right now. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Well, Greg, I have to go pull some tits. I got cows. The ladies are going to be milking and mooing and waiting. And
Oh, one last thing before we go. You talk about do what you got to do and milking cows, things like that. Most people do that kind of stuff on a schedule. Now, this is a little bit beyond the first 24 hours, but one of the main things you're going to have to contend with down the road is snipers.
Mm-hmm.
Do not, because that's the easiest way for somebody to take your stuff is just to snipe you while you're going about your daily chores. So mix your schedule up. Don't do things the same time. You need to mix the schedule up. You need to have people on watch while you're doing your stuff.
Yeah.
And if there is a sniper, the best way to take them is to have two different flanking squads of guys going after them, working their way toward them. I can talk about that in the future, how you do that. But you've got to take them out. But they can't. A sniper is going to get flushed out if they got two flanking squads coming at them. If the guys know how to operate in a squad, like one is putting down the fire while the other is moving, you know, that's the way you do it. You can't be just up and running unless somebody's providing you cover. That's what the word cover is for. And tactical maneuvers. That's something we train for in the military. Now, you civilians don't know what that is. You haven't done it, but I've been there, done that. So that's what squads do. You cover for each other. You don't move until you got cover. And that cover is somebody putting the fire down where that enemy guy can't stick his head up and take you out while you're moving.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And you better learn how to do it from the right or to the left.
Right.
Up you're at. So, all right. Train, get used to it. Do it. Been there, done that. All right. So we got the first 24 hours down. Ladies and gentlemen, be aware, pray, and let's hope these things don't happen. Look, don't blame the people in Russia. It's the leadership. Don't blame, and we're as much in this. It's the leaders of the world is what's getting us in trouble.
You got that right.
It's, you know,
I call them the DC devils.
There you go. There you go. And there's plenty of fault to go around. So we're not here trying to describe fault to one or the other. What we're telling you is, whatever the case is, we got a situation to deal with in our lives. We have something to deal with. So we've got to do it. In the meantime, you might go to freedomrestorationfoundation.org and go to the activity center, which tells you how to contact your Congress fitters and others and call them up and say, hey, we don't want a war. You know, tell them whatever you can like that. But anyway, friends, take care. And I wish everyone the best.
That's right. God bless.
God bless, and get right with your creator and hug your family. You never know when's going to be your last chance. Right. Always tell you love them. Right. You love them. And as I always say in a lot of my videos, is darkness is dispelled by light. Love dispels hate. So go out and shine your love light in the world. Go out and be nice. Go show your love.
That's right. Amen, brother.
All right. And with that, I'm going to say, Greg out.